What would it be if you just got rid of all of your assumptions in life? Could you do that? Maybe even just for a week. Just got rid of assumptions. I don't think maybe you realize how bad assuming things can be. What's the saying? When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. What would it be if you began to think about assumptions in a different way? What if you began to try, it's not going to be easy, what if you tried to neutralize your life experiences? So I drink coffee sometimes. I had some today. Damn, I was doing so well. But interesting, caffeine is acidic, and caffeine is not good for me. My constitution does not do well with acidity. I'm very, very delicate. So I need alkalinity. Alkalinity absorbs and neutralizes the acidic aspect of it. And I actually think, when I was thinking about this, I was like, oh, well, let's think of assumptions as a metaphor for acid. What does acid do? It's corrosive. And, oh, it hurts. And, oh my God, it burns. That's what happens when we make these assumptions that aren't based in truth. So I think the question you have to ask yourself is, well, why do I allow myself to assume things that I don't have the full picture of? That I am being myopic toward, meaning I'm only seeing it from, again, my limited paradigm. Well, that's the question I want you to think about this week. With the assumptions that we make about ourselves in life, we have an attachment to what's the payoff? People. There are payoffs galore in your life about the things that aren't maybe happening for you. And again, they're generally based in assumptions. And something that I started to think about today was, a lot of times when we use cynicism, or bitterness, or jadedness, or doubt, that quadrangle of negativity, you only have access then to more of that stuff. And so what's interesting to me is, it sort of becomes a feedback loop that you can't ever get out of. So if you keep reaching and needing life from a place of cynicism, I'll just use cynicism because I think that's easy for actors in LA to become cynical or jaded or bitter or defeated or upset or negative or jealous or envious or any of these things. They're all the same, different manifestations of the same quality. But what happens is then we get stuck in our feedback loop and we don't have access to a better feeling thought, so it actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the things that you are wanting to actually overcome, you don't have access to overcome them because the world keeps giving you that way you see it. So I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. It blew my mind, which was, he was just joking, but my mom says a joke is a funny way of telling the truth. She says, she's right. I love my mom. He said, something just happened to him, and he said, it has restored my faith in humanity. I was like, oh God. That, first of all, that assumption is flawed. That humanity is not full of light and full of creativity and wanting to help fellow man. Like when he was saying that, I'm not judging him, that's where he is, but I'm thinking every day here, and this is a small, tiny microcosm, of the world at large. I see such inspiring, human, courageous acts. And then out in the world, I see other examples of that. So for me, it's interesting that way of thinking, that's just an assumption that is the way life is, or that is the way humanity is. And that's what keeps bearing out for him in his experience. So you have to keep thinking of, what is the payoff for me to stay in that cycle? Well, you don't have, there's no accountability. You're not having to step up into something that's scary and exciting and dynamic and a new level for you, whether it's in your personal life, love, or in your work, getting into a new level, or in bigger work in your career, working with bigger people, or on a different job. So it's really about taking a look at, what would my life be like if I let that thing go? What if I just supplanted that thing with something that's not an assumption? That's actually the truth. Can we try to do that for a week? Just take a look at how often that triggered assumptive response keeps you in a closed system.